This video is about what to do when you reach out for support from people that you care about and they don't show up for you. And this happens sometimes, and I want to break down what not to do and what you should do. And this just happened to me recently, so we'll have a little story time too. I'm Stacy Rocklein, and I'm on a mission to eradicate loneliness. And I personally don't think there's anything more lonely feeling than reaching out and nobody showing up. Like, it's one thing if we don't ever tell anybody we're struggling and nobody shows up, because at least then we can say, oh, they can't read my mind. They don't know I didn't try. But when you actually try and nobody shows up, that makes you feel so alone, so alone. So this is what happened. I took my son to the airport to drop him off. He was headed back to school, and it's just a sad moment. I don't know, for those of you who are parents, I don't know if you ever get used to it, but I haven't gotten used to it yet. Saying goodbye to one of my kids for days, weeks, months is hard and makes me sad. Not that I want them to not go live their lives. I'm so happy for that, but I still am sad. And sometimes when you're sad, other sad things kind of come to the surface at the same time, and something that should have been kind of a small sad can turn into a bigger sad, and that's normal too. So I've committed to, in my life, reaching out to people I care about in those moments instead of going with my knee-jerk reaction, which is just a retreat. So I opened up a group text with me and two people that I care very deeply about, and I just let them know, like, I'm really sad, I'm having a hard day, this is why, and sent the text. And there was no response. Nothing. Not for minutes, not for hours, not for days, as it turned out. So at that moment, I was standing kind of at a fork in the road, and I had two possible paths I could take. Now, one is going to take me down the path of an old narrative. My old narrative, and this comes from my childhood and is the one that I lived with for so long, is I'm alone, no one is coming for me, I can't rely on anybody. And I took that, the experiences of my young life, that narrative, and I acted according to that belief system, which is I never reached out if I needed help. I just pushed away my sad feelings and I didn't directly deal with them, which is actually something I'm also working on, is making sure I always feel my feelings. And so that path, I know it's an old, worn rut. I've been down there many times, but I know that that path creates more loneliness for me because I withdraw, I retreat, I either repress or I just pick myself up and I'm like, you're okay. And I don't go build relationships. So I've got that one, and that's the one that showed up first. Right away, I'm like, oh, that's what I get for reaching out to people when I'm sad. Of course, no one's there. I could hear the narrative that starts up right away. And if yours starts up right away, it's no big deal. Maybe someday mine will be replaced, but for the time being, if it starts up, I can still choose to take the other path. And so the other path is, one person can't be everything to us. That's why we have a tapestry of people in our lives, right? We can't put everything on our partner and everything on our best friend and everything on our parent or our sibling. We have to kind of spread it around because people are good at different things. I've got friends who are really good at problem solving, and I've got friends who are really good at making me laugh, and friends who are really good at just listening, and others that are great at validating, just making me feel seen. And they all have different strengths, right? I have to decide, do I want the person who's going to ask me a bunch of questions and go really, really deep? Or do I want the person who's going to just be like, I get it, I see you, mama. And so you have to figure that out. And the other thing you have is your friends, all of those, they have their different strengths. If you go to the wrong person, and they deliver what they're good at, but it's not what you need, you may end up feeling lonelier. And you also have to remember that people go through different seasons too, right? So sometimes that one friend who always was this certain way, they are in their own crisis and it's just not the right time. Or another friend is stressed and so just cannot show up the way you need. Or, another person is I don't know, they're just sad themselves, or, dealing with their own internal stuff. There's all kinds of reasons people are in a season where It's different than they normally show up. And that's okay. And if you don't know, you can always ask, hey, do you have the bandwidth for this? But if you're close and dialed in with your friends, you kind of know when people are going through their own thing and they're not going to be able to show up for you. So 2 questions to ask yourself when you know you have a need, you know you need support is, number 1, what is it that I'm looking for? Like, know what you're doing. You're going to play matchmaker a little bit here. Know what you're looking for. In this case, I didn't want to dive into a deep conversation about it. I didn't want to solve a problem. There's not really a problem to solve. I didn't really want to be cheered up. I just really wanted to be validated. I wanted someone or people to say, I see you, like, I get it. So then once you know what you want, then you kind of look around at your groups, at your, possibilities, and you think to yourself, who is the good fit here? Who is the good fit here? So 1, what do I need? And 2, who's right for this job? And then you select from that group and you try again. And I get it. Trying again is hard when you've just been rejected or abandoned or whatever's coming up for you when someone doesn't respond. It is not easy to get back in there and try again. But that is how you keep building your deep relationships. So that's what I decided to do. I'm like, okay, who's better fit for this than this group that I've reached out to? So I got into another group of friends and I sent the same message. And within minutes, all of them came in with, oh man, I get it. It is so hard. I understand. I see you. And then I felt so much better. I just needed to have my sadness witnessed by people at that moment. And once I selected the right group, then I got what I needed, and I kept building these relationships because I kept exposing my vulnerable self, and that's how we deepen our relationships. So even if your old narrative comes up and you can see that rut, you've walked that path and you know where it takes you. And if it takes you into more loneliness, that's not the one you want to pick. And the other one requires more courage. It's a little scarier, but the end result is that you feel more connected because you've created your relationships. Then keep trying. Besides the fact that we have no idea why people don't respond. People have their own lives, they have their own stuff going on. And it's important we not make assumptions about why someone didn't show up, because the people who love you, they want to show up for you as much as they can, but everybody's got their own stuff going on. So go to somebody else in your network of people and keep trying. And if, as I say this, you're thinking to yourself, I don't have people. I don't have a network. I don't have someone to reach out to in the first place, or I don't have the next person to reach out to. That's okay. Sometimes we're in a building phase where we are finding those people and we are forging those relationships and we're creating those connections by getting together with people and sharing ourselves and hearing them and receiving them sharing themselves. So if you're at the building stage, that's okay. That's very much a place many people are at. And there's nothing wrong with it, but it does take courage, and it's really important that you start building again. And if you don't know where to begin, we do have a membership where you can come in. It's virtual friendship, but this is a place where the members of the group, when they're struggling, they can send that text to that group, and within minutes, they will have people showing up for them. And that's really important. So if you need a place to start, our membership might be for you. Just remember, you're not alone. I know it takes courage, but the lonely paths you've already walked down. So I invite you to walk a little braver path, but one that brings you to more connection. Okay, I'll see you next time.